Oh, I feel like that was exactly what the doctor ordered. If you call yourself a member of Deb Nation, just a good old-fashioned early start to the week blowout. Just the kind of game where you could sit back, even take a nap in the middle of the game and wake up. Just, get that yawn out. You get the little post-nap hangover, and then you kind of get the crust out of your eyes, and that the eye bags are kind of like reducing the swelling, and you're looking at the TV and you're like, oh yeah, the Warriors are still winning by 35 points. Just a good old-fashioned ass kicking. Exactly the kind of medicine that we who love this team needed. Let's break it all down. I got Trice High joining me as well. Phenomenal NBA filmmaker. The dude makes documentaries. I was a part of it when he made the Stephen Curry documentary. We're talking hoops, more specifically Warriors, the playoff chase. Let's have some fun tonight. It is early in the week. Good thing the Warriors were victorious in blowout fashion. Let's break it down and maybe more importantly discuss the playoff picture because it is muddled and crazy, just like us. It's the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win.
We are going to win the championship.
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
Look at the chat. What? Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. Trice High is going to join me in just a moment. You can follow me on Instagram and Threads at Dog Wild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at Surf Journalist. The program's on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. Before we bring Trice on the program and talk about the Golden State Warriors, break down a beautiful blowout victory, exactly what the doctor ordered for Dub Nation. 133-95 was the final score. But before we get into the fun, got to give some love to the folks paying our bills. We got a new sponsor tonight. I am elated. Tonight is the first of what will hopefully be a long advertising campaign for decades. In case you're wondering, what is decades? What are you talking about, a time span? Or are we talking about 2010 to no, we're talking about a band who makes some awesome music, and they're available if you're interested in hiring them for your event. Folks, Decades, the band, they that's literally their full-time job. If someone is making a living making music, they're doing something right. I'm going to even share my screen here and direct you to decadesofficial.com. That is the website for the band, so you can get just a little taste of what they're all about. And what they're looking for from this show is an opportunity to raise awareness. So if you're a corporate entity, if you're running an event, if there is something in mind where you're thinking to yourself, I need music for this, hire Decades. They play music from various different decades, which is part of the reason I'm guessing why the name is what it is. Whether it's Chuck Berry, Katy Perry, we're talking everything from the 50s to today, music for all age groups. Decades is originally from Chico, California. They're also Golden Dazers. I cannot be elated enough to have them reach out to us, and now hopefully we'll repay the favor by raising awareness and having people discover them, hire them for their events. Decades has performed over 1,500 shows all over the West Coast since 2010. That's a 15-year run, and they're still going strong, and they're now represented by Atomic Music Group to book anywhere in the country. We're talking music for any occasion, including weddings, company events, anniversaries, fundraisers, birthdays, or even just a good old-fashioned backyard rager where you're getting kegs, you've got your own bar. Something tells me it's going to be the party of your life if Decades is playing there. We're talking corporate events. They previously performed for Facebook, Panasonic, Hewlett-Packard, Sierra Nevada Brewing, and so much more. Oh, and they even played for Eddie D. Not the current owner of the Niners, his uncle, the man responsible for 5 championships, a feat that current Warriors owner, Joe Lacob, and Peter Guber, his owner is plural, they're trying to match the Eddie DeBartolo accomplishment. Decades actually played an event for Eddie DeBartolo Jr. It was a 4th of July party in Montana with several fundraisers for the Bolitnikoff Foundation. These folks are playing music for incredible scenes, and they could rock and roll for you too. Reach out to Kyle at atomicmusicgroup.com. Tell Kyle that Golden Day sent you, or for more information or other ways to get information and reach out, just go to decadesofficial.com. They're available on social media at decadesofficial. And again, we cannot be grateful enough to have them join the party. Today's episode also brought to you by Visit Humboldt. And this is where I'm going to bring Trice High onto the show. Trice, we were just talking before we started, before we hit the go live button, and you were telling me how you were in the Bay Area not too long ago for the All-Star game. I know you're not a California native. I don't know what your travels entail. Have you ever been to Humboldt County, Trice? And good to see you, brother.
It's good to see you, Sai, man. I appreciate you having me on. No, I've never been to Humboldt, but I was, like you said, was able to go to the Bay for the first time ever being in California. Matter of fact, I was out there for All-Star Weekend. I guess it was a few weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Over a month ago now. Wow, time's flying.
It is. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, it was a beautiful city. I love seeing the Bay. Obviously, All-Star Weekend's a great time. So many people there, so many like cool experiences and stuff. I was there, but beautiful city, man. It far exceeded the reputation I've ever heard of it, man. It was,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's there you go. Well, that's a glowing review for the Bay Area. And if you drive just 3 to 4 hours north of us here, you will go to the true Northern California, because even though people call the Bay Area and Sacramento Northern California, if you look at it on a map, it makes no damn sense to call it that. That's because geographically speaking, the real Northern California is Humboldt. We're talking national parks, state parks, giant old growth redwoods, old growth giant sequoias, breweries, wineries, restaurant. It's got it all. Go by yourself. Go with the family. Go with friends. Bring the pup. Whatever the itinerary is, Humboldt's got it for you. You can DM me either on Instagram or on Instagram at Dog Wild, or on Twitter at Surf Journalist, because I used to call the area home for 2 years. I was a student at what was once called Humboldt State University. They now call it Cal Poly Humboldt, and I still go up at least once a year because that's how much I love the experience, and you can enjoy it too. Go to visithumboldt.com for more information on where to stay or things to do, or just DM me. I will provide an itinerary for you with the local flavor in case you're looking for that. But regardless, go check out Humboldt, have fun, and thank me later. And Trice High is available right now. Let me get your graphic up here. There you go. You can follow Trice High on Twitter at Trice_High. The I's are replaced with the number 1. It's great to see you, Trice. You and I have worked together, although you did most of the work. I was just sitting there being interviewed for a fantastic Stephen Curry documentary. I want to share for the YouTube viewers this screen real fast, which shows your actual YouTube page, so people can get a taste of what your channel, which, side note, has over 100,000 subscribers, 118,000 more specifically. Trice High, your production company is phenomenal. Maybe the most infamous documentary for Warriors fans that you made was right here, Babyface, The Birth of an Assassin. Strongly recommend you folks going checking that out. The actual documentary, I think, if I am not mistaken, has 1.3 million views. Mm-hmm. It's an awesome documentary if you love Steph, and something tells me you got to make a sequel here soon, because his accomplishments, his resume, it ain't over. At 37, he's still going strong. Trice, great to see you, brother. And your reaction to the Golden State Warriors kicking some ass tonight. I don't know if this game was more representative of the Suns being an awful team, of the Warriors getting back on track, maybe a bit of both. 133-95, the final score. Trice, great to see you again. How are you doing? And your immediate reaction to this butt whipping in the desert.
Man, let me tell you, I've been having so much fun watching this Golden State team since they added Jimmy Butler. I mean, I'm talking about a breath of fresh air into the franchise, man. You talk about where it was kind of mid-season, right before the trade deadline, and the way things looked, hanging around that 12 seed, and then the way the Warriors are turning around, it's been magical for real watching it. And tonight was just one of those nights where they just handle business. I mean, obviously the Suns and the Warriors are on two completely different trajectories right now as far as, you know, where they've progressed throughout the season. It was just great. Those are the kind of games, as you said in your introduction, those are the kind of games that are just like, man, you need those games every now and then where they're just handling business. You don't have to worry about anything, and it's like kind of start to finish dominant performance by the Warriors. So I really enjoyed watching them, and I like those games like that where everybody's contributing. It helps build confidence for the role players, build confidence for some of the other guys going into what's going to end up being a crazy push at the end of the season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that's one of many reasons why I've been advocating so much for these young players to be getting as many minutes as possible as we're in the home stretch. Just 3 games remaining in the regular season for the Warriors. We're obviously going to talk about the Mike Malone thing in a little bit. That bombshell dropped early today in regards to the Denver Nuggets head coach. But for the Warriors, I think you made a very good point there, which is that the young players, every second of playing time they're gaining is going to help for the postseason. And Trice, I'd love to get your perspective on these youngsters. And more specifically in this game tonight, Stephen Curry was the leading scorer. He was, true to form, one of the greatest players ever, still at an MVP level, despite being 37 years of age. Steph finished the game tonight with 25 points, 9 of 17 shooting from the field, 3 of 9 from deep, added 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal and a block in 25 minutes, 55 seconds of play. Side note, the stat that pops to me the most in those 25 minutes and change, almost 26, he was a plus 31 in net rating. But the youngsters on this team, Brandin Podziemski, this is now 4 straight games where he's been lit, man. Like, he has the stroke that we've been waiting for, that I think made him a first-round draft pick. In his second year in college at Santa Clara, dude shoots 43.8% from deep. There's no doubt in my mind that's a huge reason for Mike Dunleavy Jr. Drafting him when they did. And that 3-point shot is starting to fall and then some. Tonight, 4 of 6 shooting from deep, 7 of 12 shooting overall. Pods played just 22 minutes, 23 seconds of this game, yet finishes with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Things are clicking for this kid. There's other youngsters we're going to touch on in just a second, but Podziemski, Trice, I don't know how closely you've been watching him lately, and I want to look up, I'm going to get your reaction, and then I'll read his recent game log, because this is now 4 or 5 games in a row where Podziemski's kicking ass. And maybe more specifically in terms of just what is sticking out, that 3-point shot is being made at an absurd clip in terms of efficiency, high percentage. But have you been watching Podziemski closely lately? And any feedback, any reaction, any analysis to Brandin Podziemski emerging, man? He is playing some damn good basketball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Pods, in the last, like you said, last 4 games has really been on a tear scoring the ball. But really since Jimmy's come into the fold, I think, they talked about it on the broadcast the other day, how Jimmy's kind of taken him under his wing as far as pushing him as a player. And it's really not just been his scoring that I've really been seeing him step up. It's been a lot of his playmaking as well. Just his ability to the reads he's making are a lot better than what he was at one time. He was making a lot of silly mistakes, obviously, as young players do. But it seems like he's really growing as a player, mentally, which I think is a big difference. But yeah, scoring the ball, he's knocking down shots. I really believe the Warriors, especially now as we're getting into the postseason, they're going to kind of go as far as his leap will take them. As far as, as we all know, the playoffs, you've got your heavy hitters, your star players. Obviously, Jimmy will come around, but it really comes down to, can your role players hoop at the right times? And Pods is turning it on at the exact perfect moment. The way he's shooting the ball right now is amazing. This is exactly what the Warriors have needed him to do, is be able to knock down some of these shots. His confidence is through the roof, some of the shots he's willing to take and make. I've loved seeing the way Pods is kind of stepping into that role, as really, at this point, as far as scoring the last few games, he's really been almost the second, third option scoring the ball. So it's really been really dope.
Absolutely. And just to give you some added perspective in terms of Podziemski, at least as a 3-point shooter, it's taken off for him since March. And I don't think, like you said, it's a coincidence that we've seen this elevation in his game coinciding with Jimmy Butler's arrival. In the month of March, Brandin Podziemski, 43.8% shooting from deep, identical to the numbers that he posted at Santa Clara his 1 year there. Month of April, we only have 5 games. Yes, 5-game sample size here. And Podziemski in the month of April, 51.6% shooting from deep. That includes an 0 for 4 shooting performance against the Grizzlies on April 1st. So I'm factoring that into it, and he's still shooting 51.6%. Just to give you some more perspective, when we look at 6 of the last 7 games, or let me hold on. I apologize. 5 of the last 6 games. You take out that Memphis game shooting wise. They played the Spurs before that. Podziemski was 7 for 9 shooting from deep. The Memphis game was an anomaly, 0 of 4. Against the Lakers, 8 of 10 shooting from deep. Against the Nuggets, 4 of 8 shooting from deep. The Rockets, a game that was colossally disappointing, 4 of 9 shooting from deep. Tonight at Phoenix, 4 of 6 shooting from deep. These are wild numbers, Trice, like eye-popping type numbers. Well, what's your take on that?
You know, anybody who plays basketball or has played at a high level, like you kind of understand that a lot of shooting the basketball is so much about confidence. And Pods has always had a lot of confidence in the shots he takes, but obviously hasn't always hit them at that high of a clip. But it's a really special thing when someone who has the confidence to take some of the shots he does as such a young player starts hitting them, because then, man, the sky's the limit for the amount of like high difficulty shots he can knock down. And in this case, I mean, when you've got Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry on your team, I mean, you're getting wide open looks. So he's just knocking down shots he's supposed to. And that's all they need him to do. They need him to be able to space the floor, because come playoff time, whenever double teams are being thrown at Steph, eventually double teams are being thrown at Jimmy in the mid post, kind of mid-range area. I mean, you got to be able to knock down those open threes. And if Pods is knocking them down at this clip, the Warriors are going to be hard to beat. I mean, they're going to be really hard to beat offensively.
Well, and Trice, just to add to that, and this is where I, for many reasons, why I love having you on the show. You clearly know basketball. Your documentaries are phenomenal, brother. You're a good person too. I do take that into consideration, man. You are good people, Trice. In case you don't hear that enough, I know you're a family man, so you probably are showered with love, but just to remind you and to let the audience know, you are good people, sir. But with one of the reasons I bring you on, though, is because besides being very knowledgeable with basketball, you bring a fresh perspective to the mix, right? Like most of the people, whether it's myself or the guest, like it's just Warriors. That's what we're consuming. Like, you know, the Mike Malone news drops, other stuff in the NBA happens. I'm consuming all of it. But it's like, for me, my diet when it comes to basketball is Warriors 90%, everything else is 10%. So, and I'm guessing you have a more balanced approach to the NBA. I'm sure you have your own team that you follow as well. But when I look at this Warriors team, Trice, last week when they beat the Nuggets, that I saw enough. Like, for me, the evidence is there that this team can win the championship this season. And one thing that routinely is lost to me is why so many people routinely write Stephen Curry off. I don't know if it's the size. I mean, the age is a variable that I can kind of understand. It gives me a little hesitancy, but Stephen Curry, like he's like a Jordan level. He's not at Jordan's level. No disrespect to Michael, but he's at that category that, you know, like him, Kobe, LeBron, like they're in their own space, man. And Steph is in that level. He's in that category of truly special players. I'm old enough to have seen it going back to the 80s with Magic and Bird, man. There's only very few human beings who emerge and become great basketball players like this. And so for me, every time I'm making predictions or I'm looking at especially the Warriors and you know, trying to determine where this team's going to go, it's not that hard to make a prediction because Steph is one of the greatest ever in nearly 100-year history of the NBA. So it always like befuddles me when I make like a prediction that other people think is crazy, to which I respond, dude, it's Steph. Like, why are you writing this dude off? I think the Warriors will win the championship. I guarantee they're going to win a championship this year if, and this is where I'd love to get your perspective, Steve Kerr does not mess this up with the minutes. I was livid Sunday night when the Warriors played the Houston Rockets, and Gary Payton II got more minutes in that game than Kuminga, than Moses Moody, than Guy Santos, than Quentin Post. Post was ill tonight, so we didn't see him play. We saw Guy Santos play. Everyone can see by now what this guy brings. Moses Moody is an awesome basketball player. He's starting for this team. Jonathan Kuminga, to me, and I have numbers I'm going to present in just a second in terms of what he brings to the table when he gets 30 minutes or more in a game. He's done that 40 times. That's a ridiculously low number for a player in year 4. When he gets the minutes, he delivers. My point is, when those 4 are getting a run, this Warriors team, to me, is unstoppable in a 7-game series. When Gary Payton II is getting minutes and stealing it from these other guys, we're talking about a guy who's 6'2", who in 2022 was a defensive savant, still an elite defensive player, but he's not the same athletic freak he was 3 years ago. He's not someone who can create his own shot offensively. So he is, in my view, a liability. Yet Steve Kerr has his favorites. He has his crutches. And all I'm trying to say here is tonight GP2 was out with, I believe, knee soreness. And you saw yet again that you don't need him to win games. When the Warriors beat Memphis, when they beat the Lakers, when they beat the Nuggets, GP2 was not in any of those games. And my point is, if Steve Kerr can get out of his own damn way, the Warriors are winning a championship. What are your thoughts on my potentially crazy take?
I mean, I think we all know at this point how Steve Kerr is with, I mean, as a lot of coaches in the NBA are, it's kind of a boys' club where, like, when you've helped me win a championship, I'm gonna take care of you for the rest of your career, kind of thing. And I think that's a lot of what he does with GP. And GP's great people. Obviously, had a big part of that 2022 championship. No disrespect to GP at all, but you're right. There are some young players on this team that have grown into rotational players that fill major voids on this roster. I mean, Moses Moody. Ever since you had me on the first time, that's my guy. We're both from the state of Arkansas. I've been vouching for him since the beginning.
We're in Arkansas, by the way, because I've actually been to the national park there. I've been in Arkansas a bunch of times. I love the city or the state. I love Fayetteville. Yeah. I went to Eureka Springs. Where are you from in Arkansas, brother?
Kind of north Little Rock, northeast Little Rock area.
I like Arkansas. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No, Arkansas is dope. And obviously Moses is good people. His mom's great people. I've spoke to her a couple of times. But he's a great player, all that being said. And so when you have guys like him being able to step into the fold, when you have guys like obviously TJD and some of these other guys, Jonathan Kuminga, they need those minutes that sometimes Gary Payton kind of takes some of those minutes from those guys sometimes. And, come playoff time, it's going to be very crucial that we have that linked on defense, that we have, their ability to knock down shots. Obviously, Moses Moody's shooting the ball really well here lately.
Yep.
One thing I love about Moses, not to continue.
Who
not
cares?
Not to continue praising him too much, but one thing I love about Moses is it seems like he's always in the right place, man. Whether it's a loose ball, whether it's the right rotations on defense, he's always in the right place at the right time. And so those kind of things are going to be big. Obviously, I think you have to find a balance because GP obviously brings that championship pedigree now. He brings that experience in the playoffs that, he was in the trenches with them in 2022. He understands what it takes to win a ring. And, maybe it's starting to kind of move into more of a mentorship type role.
That's what I'm saying, man.
We'll see where he falls in line. And like you said, at the end of the day, it's up to Steve Kerr to come up with the minutes and the rotations. You have to hope that maybe he'll see, as everybody else sees, kind of what's best for the team going into the postseason, and they can make a run.
Great take. And that leads to this stat that I pulled up today, because even with Stephen Curry publicly saying we're not going to, they need Kuminga to win a championship, right? And telling people back off, the criticism in regards to his minutes and so forth. It was high praise from Steph. Yet people still will hate on this guy. And I pulled up this stat today that I'm trying to find right now. Here it is. And I'm going to try to publish this as a graphic so you folks can see visually on YouTube what I'm talking about. This is called multitasking, ladies and gentlemen, literally creating graphics while hosting a live show. I think I got it. Okay, so here we go. Jonathan Kuminga, in 40 games played of where he's actually been granted 30 or more minutes per game. When that happens, it's crazy to me. It's only been 40 times. I think Podziemski already has more in his second year. Kuminga's now in year 4. Jonathan Kuminga, when he's given minutes, averages 20.8 points per game. He averages 6 rebounds per game. He shoots 40.8% from 3 in those 40 games where he plays 30 or more minutes. I've never seen a player develop and reach his potential when he's not getting NBA minutes. To me, nothing replicates that in terms of experience, in terms of a methodology of teaching. This kid needs to play. Tonight was not a good example of highlighting a minute distribution because it wasn't ass kicking, right? I mean, no one's going to get heavy minutes. And Kuminga did not have anything, that stuck out. He played 21 minutes, 10 seconds, 4 of 9 from the field, near 50%, had 10 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. Those assists were actually really awesome, by the way, and a +9 net rating. Your take on Kuminga, man, like anything you're seeing that's bizarre to you in terms of the minutes? Do you think this is normal that in year 4, he can't even get 25 minutes a game? What are your thoughts on Jonathan Kuminga?
I think Kuminga's caught in this weird paradox of he was injured when they got Jimmy. Then now he's kind of getting back healthy. Jimmy took a lot of the minutes that he would have played. Now they're trying to figure out how to fit them two together in a rotation. I think it's more of that than it is necessarily that Kerr doesn't trust him, especially down the stretch of the season. And that's just me looking at it from a pure basketball standpoint. That's not looking at it from a analytics standpoint or anything like that. That's me looking at it from my experiences in basketball, understanding cultures of teams and coaching rotations. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Is it's just unfortunate he was hurt when Butler came into the fold. So then it's kind of they're having to find a way to kind of take 2 halves of a team or 2 ways of playing in the team and fit them together. Because obviously Kuminga was a big part of the offense prior to and was playing significantly more minutes.
Still is. Trice, he's 3rd on the team in scoring currently.
Yeah.
But he's 7th in minutes.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Yeah. And I think the biggest question you have to figure out is what is the capacity that you play him and Jimmy simultaneously? Because a lot of those minutes are going to overlap. In a perfect world, Kuminga's a much better 3-point shooter. He's improved
Well, again,
a lot.
when he plays, again, and again, we have morons like this in the chat, and I know exactly who it is. Warrior 30 saying every night is about Kuminga. Side note, it'll stop being like that when he gets minutes and he's not being screwed over by his coach. But again, we have just dipshits like this saying Kuminga can't shoot. As I'm posting a stat saying when he does play, he shoots 40.8% from deep. Again, this is the ignorance and the illogical madness I deal with. And this is the influence of Steve Kerr. All Steve Kerr has to do is make a decision. Half the fan base will just obey like the fanboys they are. It's maddening, brother. I'm sorry to go crazy again.
It's okay, though. I mean, Kuminga, I was going to say, Kuminga's made a huge leap in his shooting ability this year, man. I mean, I said prior to the season, that was going to be a huge piece of his development as a player was going to be if he could knock down those threes at a higher clip. And he's obviously made that progression when he gets the time on the floor. So, yeah, I mean, and I really, really hope that he gets more minutes as we get closer to the playoffs because they're going to need him down the stretch. Just like we were talking about Pods and how important he's going to be, Kuminga is probably on that same level, if not maybe a little bit more important as far as needing that 3rd scorer. The playoffs are all about how deep are you as a team offensively, and who do you have that can step up when you need it. And I mean, Kuminga and Pods are going to be kind of what the championship hopes of the team ride on. And obviously that goes back to what you talked about with, minutes and who's going to play what rotations and all those things. And that's for hopefully a 4-time head coach, as a head coach, a 4-time champion coach to figure out. But you have to hope that he'll understand the rotations that are needed and be able to put together, a solid lineup for the postseason run.
I hope so, man, because again, a lot of people go back to that 4 title the 4 championships on Kerr's resume, and my pushback always is 2 of those came on those KD teams. My 2 dead grandmothers, rest in peace, they could have coached those teams to championships. I'll give Kerr credit for the first one. Absolutely. He was a difference in the Mark Jackson playoff teams turning into a world championship. But we look at the last 5 years, they missed the playoffs 3 of those last 5 years. And as we look at Mike Malone, we look at Mike Budenholzer, who we saw tonight. Oh, I got his name right. Frank Vogel. I'm listing coaches who have been fired just in the last 5 years who also won championships. And when you look at Kerr's body of work the last 5 years, when he hasn't had these stacked teams and he's actually had to prove himself as a coach, I'm seeing a lot of failings, man. And again, this is coming from someone who is literally has to watch every second of this crap because I can't. I'm gonna get called out if I don't, man. My one MO on the show is being accurate with the analysis. I know what I say, that the fans love Kerr. I get that. And so a lot of what I say is unpopular and people are like, don't blast Kerr as our coach. But I can't not be real about this, man. Like, he makes a lot of mistakes, dude. And the way he's handling the GP 2 minutes, yet another example of it. So, it's a tough situation, but I hope people can at least respect the authenticity of me not being a homer in this situation. Leading into Guy Santos, one of our audience members called him Gooey, and I love that. Gooey Santos. I forgot the name of the person who did that, but Guy tonight was a perfect example to me of the value he brings to the table. Guy Santos played 21 minutes tonight, reminding everyone of the high energy he brings, the connectivity he brings offensively, especially 7 points in this game, 9 rebounds in this game. He was tenacious on the interior, also added 3 assists, had 2 steals, had a block, was a plus 15 in net rating. I love Guy Santos, man. I want to see him get consistent minutes. What are your thoughts on this kid, dude? Because I love him. I do.
Yeah, I like Guy. I think he's one of those classic Warriors players. He reminds me of someone you could have plugged in directly into one of those like 2015, like that first Warriors team, and he would have just thrived with off the bench with like Spates and Barbosa and those guys.
Both Brazilian. Yeah, the Brazilian connection.
Yeah, like he reminds me a lot of those type of players who just fit really well in like those rotational minutes of just like solid all-around players, understand the game, can move the ball well, big body on defense. Like he does a lot of really good things for the team, and like those it's been really cool to see him actually get minutes this year and actually be able to like develop into a really good role player. Great energy, obviously off the bench. You need guys who bring energy, who can kind of come into a game and do that. And he seems to be like kind of cut from that exact same cloth. So it's been really cool to see.
Agreed. He's been awesome, dude. And I'm become a huge fan of his. And Trey Ochoa bringing up Moses Moody's dunk in this game today. Moody didn't have like a big stat line in this game. Finished with 5 points, only had 2 3-point attempts, made one of them. And I think all of that was in the first quarter. I mean, I remember most of his shots dropping early in this game. Did have a plus 19 in terms of net rating, 18 minutes, 22 seconds of play. He had a great night, even if the stats don't necessarily reflect that. Box scores don't always indicate how a team is doing. One player that did not play tonight was Quentin Post. He was down with illness. And so we saw Trace Jackson Davis getting minutes. He's been relegated out of the rotation just because of depth. This team is very deep. So Quentin Post didn't get a chance to play tonight, but he brings so many intangibles to the table for this Warriors team, besides the fact that he's actually 7 feet, which the Warriors don't have a lot of in terms of height, big players like that, but a stretch big. Kerr has said repeatedly how surprised he was to see a player like that. Rick Barry, who comes on the show once a week on average for the Rick Barry show, I asked him once, I'm like, is the concept of a player like that in your era, could you even fathom that? He's like, nope. That just was not even something you could conceive. And yet it's becoming more and more a prevalent part of our game. I don't know how much Quentin Post you've seen. I know he didn't play tonight, but he's another player I love. He's another one of the young pieces that I think has a very bright future, but also a bright present. What's your take on Quentin Post, man?
I love Post. He's probably been one of my favorite parts of like this run in the second half of the season, seeing him actually like, I liked it whenever they actually drafted him I remember watching a lot of his film and being like, man, this guy, like, he's an older college player. He's got some experience. He's not like one of the young guys, and he fits the mold of what the Warriors have lacked, which is a 7-footer, like someone over finally someone over 6'9" to play the big man spot, and someone who can knock down the outside shot. And so, watching him as he's progressing the season and got minutes has been really cool to see. I love his fire, man. He's more confident than a normal rookie. And the Warriors have a habit of drafting those kind of guys. Like Pods was the same way as a rookie. Like they're just like, and even TJD, like I think maybe it's because they draft older guys who are a little more experienced. Because like when he came in, like you saw it in the Lakers game the other day when he was talking trash to LeBron and Luka. Like he's fearless. I'm
glad you brought that up, dude. I feel like it shook Luka a little bit, dude. Yeah. Like he couldn't believe it. He was like,
yeah, I was surprised, right? He does that. Like he's got like an experienced moxie about him where he's like, he's gonna come at you, which I think is really cool from like a pretty quiet guy otherwise. Great 3-point shooter for his size. I mean, he's not gonna, I don't know, you probably have the stats in front of you. He's not gonna down at a great clip.
Leads the team, I believe. I'm going to pull that up again, but he was at least the last time I looked at it a few days ago, he was leading the team in 3-point shooting above 40%. So incredible. Yeah, absolutely.
Great shooter. I'd like to see him kind of continue his growth as like an interior defender, being able to protect the rim at a high level. If it's nothing else, just being able to be a big presence in the paint. I'm not saying he's going to be a high shot blocker or anything, but just being able to make yourself serviceable on defense so you can play more. And obviously grabbing boards. I think really he can be a big part of a postseason run if he can continue kind of this trajectory he's on.
Agreed. Strongly agreed. 41% on the year, Quidden Post, averaging 1.8 3-pointers made per game on 4.3 attempts. 41% is damn good. Anything above 40, you can go home and brag to your family and friends. That is a damn good clip. To put it in even more perspective, Quidden Post leads the Warriors in 3-point shooting at 41%. Next highest, Stephen Curry at 39.7%. And Wardell, I think, is having a pretty good year. By the way, on the Wardell tip, and you've got an awesome YouTube channel where you're literally an award-winning YouTuber. I don't know if that's the right way to properly label it, but they sent you like a nice plaque or an award. Yeah. Like it was a fancy thing they sent you, man. YouTube to commemorate your 100,000 subscribers. And one of the many reasons why you've reached infamy as a filmmaker is because of your Wardell Stephen Curry documentary. Although when I look at your channel, I don't even know if it's among your highest viewed documentaries, but you still has a grip of them. What has changed since you released that? Because it's mind blowing to me that Stephen Curry has 15 30-point games. 10 of them have come after the age of 30. It goes to show that he's aging like fine wine, man. And something tells me when he made the documentary, I could be wrong, but something tells me, I'm going to guess, that you did not envision him continuing this after it was over. I could be wrong, but your thoughts on Wardell. You made this incredible documentary. What he's done since then.
Man, I'm not going to lie. You are wrong in that sense, just because, I mean, I stopped doubting Steph a long time ago.
Okay. Smart man.
Stephen Curry is the most incredible player I've ever watched play basketball. He's the reason I follow this team in any capacity as far as that goes. Like, I mean, he inspired me. I mean, I could go off on a whole tangent on how he kind of inspired me in my journey in basketball, motivated me to play and to reach the levels that I was able to reach as a player. And then also, to follow his career and the way he's inspired others. Man, it's insane to think about. And to see him this season be able to then take that and continue to somehow still reach those levels and do it maybe even better than he ever has. It's just a testament to who he is as a player, man. He's unlike anything we'll ever see. He's unlike anything we'll ever see again. And so I've kind of just made it a point to just enjoy every game I can of his, even the low scoring games like the Houston Rockets game the other day. Just like any opportunity I have to watch him play basketball, I try to tune in because, I mean, at this point, you never know. I mean, right now he's defying father time. He's doing his thing, but you never know when will be that last kind of stretch of elite play. So you're just kind of trying to take it all in. something feels special about the end of this season, man. I mean, I know there's been some bumps in the road, but there's just something about this run. And I'd give anything to see him win that 5th ring this year. I mean, I would really give anything. And I've said it to a few people recently. My little brother, he's watching. He's a huge Steph Curry Golden State Warriors fan. Shout out Garen. I was telling him the other day, like, seeing him win that 5th ring would put him in a conversation, I think, to me, is one of the greatest players ever. Maybe the greatest player ever to me. Just like as far as the best player I've ever seen actually play basketball, skilled player playing basketball, he would be my greatest. I mean, just off of just like the greatest player to ever actually be skilled at the game of basketball. I think from his size, being able to accomplish what he did and be the incredible player he is, that it would be hard for me not to say he was the best. And obviously, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of numbers and stats to go against it, but just as a basketball player and a lover of the game, like seeing the way he plays, I would never be able to say that he wasn't the greatest to ever touch a basketball. So,
well, you brought up a really good point, which is the skill set aspect of it, and that's a huge reason why I have Steph in my top 10 of the all-time rankings as well, and why I think if they win a championship this year, I'm putting Steph on the Mount Rushmore of all-time greats. The stakes are so high this year, and the fact that it's a real possibility for the Warriors to win a 5th championship, man, it's why I'm so critical and I scrutinize Kerr's coaching so much, because like if he does things right, they get number 5 this year, and Steph's legacy is cemented in terms of the all-time greats. You know, we bring up Jimmy Butler. You brought him up early in the show in terms of his impact. The Warriors, side note, since the Jimmy Butler trade, are number 1 in the NBA in defensive rating, just to give you an idea of his impact. Tonight wasn't a huge game, statistically speaking. He had played 19 minutes, 31 seconds, 10 points, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, because that's what he does. 2 rebounds and 3 assists, added 2 steals, second on the team in net rating with a plus 22. Trice, when you look at the NBA landscape, we're going to look at the standings in just a second here to see where how the playoffs are looking today, because every day it changes. Who's going to stop the Warriors, if anybody? Because again, if Steve Kerr gets out of his own damn way, the Warriors are winning a 5th championship. I guarantee it, man. It's going to happen. The minutes just have to be handled appropriately. What are your thoughts on this postseason? I know predictions are wild and, you know, they're gimmicky to a certain extent, but who's taking it if not the Warriors?
Oh man, the West is a dogfight. Pardon my words. Like the West is an absolute, like, it's wild. It's the Wild West. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, you can go from 3 to 9 or whatever it is, 3 to 6, 3 to 8 in 1 or 2 losses. It's just an insanely tight race. Nobody wants to lose. Everybody's turning it on at the right time. I think when it comes to playoff time, what I'm excited to see is what it looks like when Jimmy Butler actually arrives. And nobody's really seen it yet.
Yes.
And if you followed the Miami Heat at any capacity, you know what I'm kind of talking about, where it's like, you know, Jimmy he's been doing it for like 6 years now. I mean, he takes his time, and then, you know, he kind of eases into the postseason. Then when the playoffs come is when Jimmy Butler steps onto the floor.
Yes, sir.
He's one of the premier players in the NBA to this day. That hasn't changed. And I'm really excited to see how that looks whenever you add him to a team with a Stephen Curry who's peaking at the right time, with all these role players who are beginning to find their roles on this team and fill them well. I think they're going to be a tough out for anybody in the league. They're going to be a tough out for any single team. And that's why I think, like, to me, I don't even know if it matters what seed they end up locking in. I think it does matter that they get in that top 6. I want them to avoid the play-in at all costs.
Yes. And for 2, there are 2 reasons to that from my perspective, and I think they're obvious, but add to this if you want. Obviously, you don't want to play the 2 games, but way more 1 or 2 games depending on your seed. But way more importantly, that you get a week off.
Yeah.
And for a team like this, where Steph's 37, Jimmy and Dre are 35, yeah, that matters a shitload. That's just me, but I that's where I think it comes into play more than anything else. Getting a whole week off, so you are rested and recharged for that first round series. That's just me. I don't know if you feel the same way or not. But
I agree. No, that's 100%. That's exactly what it is. And also, just like the minute you start getting into single elimination, even sometimes double elimination games, like that's when you start getting into some dangerous territory of like you don't know what could happen. One bad game can send you home, and you don't want to mess with that. You need a series where you can have some consistency and you can overcome bad games. But that being said, assuming they can land one of those top 6 spots, I really think they're going to be hard out for anybody. They'll be my pick to win the championship. I really believe the champion's going to come out of the West. The East is tough, but the Cavs are unbattle tested as far as the playoffs go, especially high level. Like we're talking Eastern Conference finals action, vastly unexperienced as far as that goes. Donovan Mitchell has a little bit of playoff experience, but for the most part, they don't have a lot.
Well, and it's not just that. Donovan Mitchell does have a decent amount of playoff experience, but it's not deep. Like none of those runs were deep.
Right.
Like he went to the postseason actually. Like when you look at his resume, it's a little surprising. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a little surprising how many postseason games he's played. I think it's like 50
the
or
bubble.
60.
The bubble, like that major performance against Jamal Murray, and like they were both scoring like 40 points a game.
Right. Those Rudy Gobert Utah teams. But with that said, Trice, I don't know if you agree with me on this. Going back to Cleveland, I don't think Donovan Mitchell is enough to carry your team to victory. Like, and he's their number 1 guy. Like, ultimately, when it comes to the postseason, again, we're just all sharing opinions here. I'm not going to stand on this hill and pretend it's a fact. But when you look at NBA teams and who wins out when it's all said and done, and what are the teams left standing, you've got to have a top dog that you can rely on to make those big shots in those high pressure situations. It oftentimes comes down to that. Boston has Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Right. The Warriors have Steph and Jimmy Butler. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic. The Lakers have LeBron and Luka. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can be that guy for OKC, maybe. I mean, that's actually a bit of a question mark, but I'm not too worried about it. But when you look at Cleveland, I don't trust Donovan Mitchell to be that guy at all. He's never once proved it, and maybe Darius Garland can be that guy, but he hasn't proven it. So that's an issue for me when I look at Cleveland. But I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I think regardless, I think it's Boston coming out of the East. I think Boston's just like they're kind of have been in a little. I mean, this is going to sound weird saying this because they've won almost 60 games, but they've kind of been in coast mode a little bit during the regular season.
Yeah,
and that team can beat you in so many ways. They shoot the ball at such an elite level, and I would be concerned seeing them match up with Golden State in the finals because I know how much those guys would love to get revenge on Steph and the Warriors. That being said, it would be cinema as far as the series goes. It would be an incredible series. I think it would probably go 6-7 games, and I think Steph would still shut the TD Garden up. I think it would be a magical series to see him take on them again. And you couldn't paint it any better of a picture. But no, if I have to look at the playoffs, I do think the champion's coming out of the West.
And here's another variable when it comes to a potential Warriors-Celtics finals, right? A huge factor that goes into who wins the trophy when all's said and done. And again, this is a variable that stats cannot measure, which is why analytics for me has its place, but it's not going to tell you the whole story in basketball. That's just my opinion again. But when you look at the Celtics and Warriors in a hypothetical, and you look at the variable of hunger, who wants it more, right? You look at those teams when they played in 2022. Obviously, Boston wanted to win their first championship. But Stephen Curry was a psychopath. He was a demon. He was a man obsessed, possessed to win a chip. And I think a lot of it came down to the noise he kept hearing about never winning a finals MVP, never winning without KD, that first championship maybe being, just an anomaly because LeBron's team was hurt. People made excuses for the 3 chips, right? So he had an objective and he was hungry. He was a madman going for something. Right. Boston, and the reason why I think this favors the Warriors a little bit this year if they meet again, is Boston won last year, so it gives them the experience, which is huge. But by them winning, I don't know if the hunger of trying to be a repeat world champion matches up with the hunger of Steph trying to put himself, again, on Mount Rushmore. And it's not just Steph. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy's trying to win that first ring. Yeah.
Yes. Let's not forget Jimmy Butler, those 2 runs to the NBA Finals with Miami. He was beating Boston in the process, and he does not have a ring. So he's hungry as shit. Steph and Dre are hungry as shit. And I know Boston has the hunger as well, but I think that's an edge to the Warriors. What are your thoughts on that?
It would be a battle. Oh, man, it would be such a battle. I hope they can make it to that point. I think man, I can't even that series. There'd be so many little side narratives that would build that up.
Yes.
It would probably be one of the most watched finals in a long, long time. I think. Oh,
getting exciting, baby! We're not even in the playoffs yet.
Well, and that's your favorite time of year, man. It's my favorite time of year. It's the NBA playoffs when the Warriors are rolling. There's no better time. Your original question was, who do I think was the biggest competition for them in the West? Looking at these standings, Houston doesn't bother me that much. I think a lack of experience, although Fred VanVleet won a ring, I think a lack of experience hurts them.
Well, and as weird as this may sound, Houston to me has the same issue that Cleveland has, where I don't know who that guy is when the game's on the line. Now, you mentioned Fred VanVleet, and that probably is the answer, but is that enough, right, to help you win 4 rounds or 3 rounds? I don't think it is, man. Houston's going to be a team, I'm guessing, who will chase either Durant or another big fish this offseason. But I'm sorry to keep interrupting, man.
No, you're good. I think probably OKC. Obviously, OKC's the easy answer. I mean, the length and size of that team, the defense of that team. Shea's an unbelievable player. They're going to be a tough out for anybody. But maybe a lack of experience gives you a leg up. The Lakers are going to be really scary in the playoffs. I mean, I'm you hate to say it on a Golden State podcast, but the Lakers, they're a bad matchup for the Warriors. They have been for years. Luckily, the Warriors have played them much better this year than they have in the past. I've been really impressed with the way they've played them, this year specifically.
Well, it was really just the last game. The Lakers did win the first 3 matchups, for good reason. But then, the 4th matchup, suddenly the Lakers had swapped AD for Luka, which I think is crazy.
Luka struggled. Luka
did struggle. And again, when another team is trying to emulate what the Warriors have mastered, I'm not worried from a Warriors perspective. And I'm looking specifically at OKC. I'm looking specifically at the Lakers. These are teams that got smaller. That is not how you beat Golden State, man. You're just playing into their hands. That's just me. I don't know.
Denver lost obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how Denver responds to losing Mike Malone. Crazy news there.
You want to talk about that now?
We can. We can.
What was the reaction to that, dude? It was crazy. You're right.
My reaction to it was, I don't want to speculate. My initial thought was something had to have happened behind the scenes that led to that. It seems like now it was more so from what I've seen of the past few days of interviews for Mike Malone, he was kind of saying some things about players not being willing to lock in and watch film and stuff during this losing streak. Seemed to be some conversations about how much he was playing Westbrook. I've seen a bunch of different things. And then the fact that him and the GM both got canned, I don't really know what it was about, but all it did for me was kind of solidify what I thought when Mike Budenholzer got fired, when Monty Williams got fired, when all these great coaches get fired, the NBA is such a cutthroat league. And it's just at the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately? Yes. All the time. They don't care if you are a year removed from a championship. Like it's such a players driven league. And the minute your star players are not happy with your coach, like you're done, like you're just gone. And so it's it's crazy. I'm curious how they're going to respond.
I feel like on paper, Mike Malone would be perfect for the Kings if it weren't for the fact that Vivek and Mike Malone hate each other.
Yeah,
but he's going to get hired somewhere, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Mike Malone's going to be a sought after head coach, I think. Would you agree?
He's a great coach. He's probably one of the better coaches in the whole NBA. So that's why, I mean, I have no question he'll get a job. I'm just like, my mind immediately goes to Denver. I mean, sitting in that 4 seat, like, I mean, tied for that 4 spot, like,
crazy.
I don't know. It's just crazy. The fact that you're in the heart of the playoffs, top 4 seed, couple years removed for a championship, and you lose your job is nuts. It's nuts.
It is, man. It is batshit crazy is what it is. Here, look, I wasn't that surprised. The shock to me, let me try to get this right here. The shock to me was the timing, right? 3 games left in the regular season. And this isn't even the first major firing late in the year. I mean, Taylor Jenkins was just 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah, that was a crazy one too.
The timing of these things is kind of wild, but we knew. Look, first of all, I don't see head coaches who publicly criticize their front office last very long.
No.
And Mike Malone was doing just that. I don't blame him for doing it. More specifically, Mike Malone's criticism was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope not being re-signed. He was pissed off about that. I think rightfully so. It made no damn sense. It reminds me that reminded me of after the Warriors won the championship in 2022, and one of the first things the Warriors did was, we're going to let GP2 go. What? Like that was wild. I did not think that was a smart move. And it was I'm guessing it was a financial decision. It seems like the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a lack of re-signing was also a financial decision. And he was pissed off about it. He called out his front office publicly. Everything I've read indicates that those two hated each other behind the scenes. You couple that with the fact that the team's flailing late in the season. NBA owners think most coaches are replaceable. Look, I don't know what you think the importance of a head coach is in the NBA, but certainly one of the most important responsibilities is managing minutes, right? That's the power they have. You can be a good coach and teach, right, and try to improve your players and develop them and massage egos and do it. But ultimately, when it comes down to what they're affecting on the court, what they're affecting, like their actual power, it's their decision making in terms of who to play when. Mm-hmm. And that part of it, I didn't really see an issue. I thought Christian Brown was playing like he was supposed to. Russell Westbrook. I didn't really see anything on the court necessarily that indicated Mike Malone was doing bad things. Did you? I mean,
no,
that part was weird, I thought.
No, I think you were probably right on the money with the criticizing of the front office, the criticizing of the players. It's gonna catch up to you. And Mike Malone's kind of old school, kind of tell it like it is. And I mean, today's day and age with the media and stuff, it's tough to operate like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, NBA coaches, you're almost more of a ego manager. You're almost more like that. You're almost more of it's more political than it is coaching. Like you're trying to appeal to all these different people and, make everybody happy. And, it's hard to balance that with the old school core coaching of like, this needs to get done for us to improve. And I don't really care whose feelings get hurt for us to get there. And, unfortunately for him, it resulted in him losing his job. Like you said, he's not gonna have any problem getting hired on anywhere else though. I mean, he's a great coach.
But it is crazy that we have that. And again, I would feel for these guys. You're right. It's a crazy job. We're in crazy times to be seeing head coaches, especially head coaches with, the resumes these guys have, the prominence. If they weren't making tens of millions of dollars, I would actually be shedding tears, but they're fine. The Monty Williams part of this to me is still the craziest. Like the guy gets a $70 million guaranteed contract. And did he last a year? Was he fired in his first year? Or did he make it a year? And it was year 2. I can't remember, but it's just, they're making so much money. So I don't feel that bad for him other than the lack of stability with these jobs. That part of it sucks, but do you think? How do you think it's going to affect them? Like the Nuggets were a team that I looked at when it comes to the Warriors as being the biggest roadblock, and they still scare the shit out of me. Like We're going to cover the standings here in just a second in terms of where the Warriors are here with 6 days remaining in the regular season, just 3 games to play. And if the season ended today, the Warriors would thankfully not play the Nuggets in the first round. That is the team I still am scared of the most. What team, again, this is a Warriors show, so sorry if this question is a little weird. What team, if you're the Warriors or if you're a part of the Warriors, who scares you the most in the West? Because for me, it's still Denver. Is it LA? I know it sounds like that was what you were alluding to there.
Yeah, it's too early for me to know about the Nuggets. It's going to depend on how they respond to not having their coach. Obviously, that changes a lot of things in the locker room, morale, team chemistry, like who's going to step in. Either they're going to rally around the guy and make a run, or it could kind of cause some issues. I mean, I said the Lakers initially mainly off of just LeBron. I mean, like, love him or hate him, LeBron James in the playoffs, as Warriors fans know better than anybody, he brings his A game, and that's not going to change just because he's 40. I mean, so Luka's got something to prove. I mean, the Mavericks shipped him out for AD. Like, I mean, he feels disrespected. They're going to be on a mission, but they do lack a big, so that's a big part of it. I would say for me, probably the Thunder for sure. Thunder, Lakers, or Timberwolves all could be interesting.
That is interesting. The Warriors side note, they won the season series against OKC this year. 2-1, the one loss. They were actually winning until the very end. Right. Stephen Curry didn't play in that game either. The one game they lost by 3 or 4. They won the season series over Minnesota. With all that said, the postseason is a whole different beast. But just wanted to throw that caveat in there.
Golden State against any of them, though. I mean, I would say I'm taking Golden State against any of them. If I had to say which series out of those 3 series, which one do I think has the best potential to go 7 games and be a tough series for them, I think it's the Lakers.
The Warriors play the Clippers in the final game of the season. That's going to be interesting. The Warriors lost the first 3 to LA, and something tells me that's a team I don't want the Warriors to see either. The Clippers are dangerous, man. In the chat, sorry, did you have anything to say? Didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna say that game's basically a playoff game because it's going to have major it's going to have major seeding implications. So it's basically a playoff game.
Agreed. Richard Marquez in the chat, Golden Dazer saying Jackson Rowe, a 2-way player for the Warriors who was on the bench, suited up tonight, played in garbage time, is the new Guy Santos. Don't sleep on him. I've said this before about Jackson Rowe, and I'll say it again. When I saw him in person, he's a big dude. Like, I don't think he's tall. I think he's like 6'6" or 6'7", but he's a stocky individual. Like, you're going to have a hard time moving him around on a basketball court. And he did play 9 minutes, 4 seconds of garbage time tonight. A couple of players that we haven't seen much of got an extended run this evening. Jackson Rowe, 6 points in this game, added 3 rebounds and an assist. Again, in 9 minutes and 4 seconds. Kevin Knox was getting minutes tonight, 10 points for Knox to go with 2 rebounds and an assist for him. Not perfect. 1 of 3 shooting from deep. Jackson Rowe only had 1 3-point attempt, made that. So he was a perfect 1 of 1. I didn't get a chance to really observe Braxton Key that much. I was actually looking forward to that, but I was busy setting up and it was garbage time. I have a hard time focusing at that point, but good take. Val Sharpton accusing the Warriors fan base of being delusional, saying that the Warriors were giving tickets away the year before Kerr got there. That's not true at all. The Mark Jackson era was very popular for the Warriors. And as a sign of how dedicated the fan base is, even in all those decades of mediocrity, that arena, Roracle, was still selling out, man. This is a dedicated fan base here. They might not have been popular, but they were popular enough to still fill that arena, even when they were the Washington Wizards of the NBA for, again, almost 30 years. Val Sharpton also bringing up Amin Thompson of the Rockets and bringing up his development, saying he took the same route as JK. Did he? Well, look, I actually looked at Amin Thompson. He's in year 2 this year, and he's already averaging 32 minutes a game. Last year, in his rookie year, he averaged 24 minutes a game, whereas Kuminga averaged 17. So on one hand, I get Kuminga, his rookie season, the Warriors won a championship. He was a part of that, side note. It's so easy for people to forget that Kuminga and Moody were both not only playing on that team, they were starting playoff games for that team. But again, the minutes. I'm not sitting here pretending that Kuminga, like I know Kuminga is going to be a superstar. My argument time and time and again that so many of you are just apparently too dense to understand, but I just have to keep repeating myself, is he needs minutes. That's what I'm advocating for. A young player will never reach their potential if they're not playing. There is no replication for NBA experience. Amen Thompson in year 2 is already averaging over 32 minutes. Brandin Podziemski is a great example of what happens when a player plays. Steve Kerr said, you know what? You go out there. I don't care about all the mistakes you're making. I'm just going to give you minutes. And we're starting to see the fruition of that. If a player does not get consistent minutes and a good, healthy amount of minutes, you're never going to see them develop. Am I wrong here, Trice?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think it's tough for a player to reach their potential if they're not battle tested. You know, they've got to be able to play meaningful minutes, to play, you know, to get in the trenches, man. They got to be able to get in there and see what it takes to succeed at this level. And I mean, if a player is not given those opportunities, then especially in games that are big time games, postseason games, they're not going to be ready because it's their first opportunity. Now, some players are better at rising to those occasions than others, just naturally, just off of how they respond to adversity, whatever. But I think that's a big difference in the two for sure.
Well, and they're just different people in general. Like
Different players. I mean,
they're different players. But I will say this again: if he's ever averaged, I got to show this stat again, apparently, because people just don't want to hear it. When he actually plays 30 minutes or more a game, he delivers. That is why I've said the adage: great things happen when Jonathan Kuminga plays, because they literally do. And some players don't have great starts to games. That is why you need them to have 30 minutes or more to get a full body of work out there, not just these little spurts that people are judging them for. It's crazy to me, man. And most of it is literally just narrowed down to, well, Kerr's deciding it, and I trust them blindly. I don't. Agree to disagree, I guess, on that front otherwise. And again, this is where, again, Alwyn Daniels saying minutes are earned. Kobe Bryant was not earning his 30-plus minutes in year 3 when he was still posting horrible numbers. Horrible shooting numbers, turnovers, yet he was still getting over 30 minutes a game on a Lakers team that was contending for a championship. When you're a prized lottery pick, just being a high pick is the earning part of it. They have to play. Part of this is me, and Trice, let me know if you think I'm being illogical here. Part of this is me in terms of viewing Kuminga as an asset, as a player that was drafted 7th overall in the lottery. Steve Kerr already butchered the number 2 pick, James Wiseman. You're also sitting here just giving him a pass for the number 7 pick in the very next year's draft. You have to play these guys. They have to be out there gaining experience before we can come and formulate judgments. I don't know how else. I don't know why this message is not getting across to certain people. And I think ultimately it's just because people blindly trust Kerr. I don't, but that's just me. Anyways, I'm sorry to bring you into this, Trice, but it's just a never-ending back and forth with a bunch of morons out here who defend Kerr for limiting and screwing up this player, pretending that it's normal to treat a lottery pick like this. It is not normal. This is a massive anomaly. This is not how you normally treat lottery picks. You play them. You don't just give them herky-jerky treatments. And again, the rookie season, I understood. They won a championship. I didn't understand it in year 2 when he was losing minutes to Anthony Lamb. I didn't understand it in year 3 when he was losing minutes to Dario Saric and JaMychal Green. I don't understand it now when he's losing minutes to GP2. I don't get it. I don't trust Kerr when it comes to young players in the minutes. That's just me. Trice, to bring you into this. If you have any thoughts, go for it, please.
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of thought a lot of the talk about Kuminga would die down after his season last year. I thought he really made a great jump. Obviously, had a huge leap in minutes for sure. And this year, it's dipped a bit. He was averaging 26 minutes a game last year. He's averaging 24.7 this year. Slight dip in points per game.
Yeah, it went down.
Yeah.
And the great guru brings up, no, being a lottery pick is not a guarantee. All right, then, you just wasted a lottery pick. That's what you're supporting then. You're supporting the argument that it's fine to waste a number 7 pick in one of the deepest drafts in NBA history. Wrong. You're basically supporting a practice where it's just okay to just pretend lottery picks don't have insane amounts of value to them. The Warriors had the number 2 pick. They screwed that up. And now you're pretending that screwing up the number 7 pick is fine too. That's not how I roll, man. I think that is a misuse of a very important asset that they're doing here. And you're just turning an eye to Steve Kerr because of it. I'm not. That's the difference. Anyways, sorry. I just think it's just batshit crazy to me, man. All this like, we're just going to pretend Steve Kerr's a genius who never gets anything wrong. He's a human being. He's surprisingly very fallible, much more than even I anticipated when I started looking at the nuance of his decisions. But anyways, let's go look at the standings here, see where the Warriors are in the playoff picture before I start going crazy. I want to keep an entertaining program here. Let's get some tunes going as well, because that's how we roll when it comes to the playoff standings. Trice, I don't know what your thoughts are on the music, but I'd love to. If you have any feedback, I'm here. I'm all ears, brother. And look, you produce documentaries. You're a film producer. Any constructive criticism you have on my program, I want to listen to you, brother.
No, I like it. A nice chill vibe. I like it.
What are your thoughts, by the way, when ignorant schmucks like this say accuse a player of a low IQ?
I think it's hard for fans to talk about IQ. I mean, if you never play basketball at a high level, like it's hard to in my opinion, you can't really sit there and tell a player they have low IQ when, you know, they've probably forgotten more than what most fans know about the game of basketball. But at the same time, I understand, like, some players don't read the game as quickly, and some, like, they make silly reads and bad plays. So I can do that. But
yeah, that would be a fair definition of a low IQ. But I haven't seen that from Kuminga. I don't see that. And this is where that's the only attacks I get about Kuminga is all these dumb opinions, no metrics to support it, except for maybe 3-point shooting. But again, I go back to this stat where if you actually give him minutes, the dude hits over 40% of his threes. But I digress.
All right, this music reminds me of like the lo-fi music I used to listen to when I like study in college. Like this cool vibe. I'm kind of waiting for you to start freestyling on it.
I'm not good at that, dude. My buddy Jerry and I, like, he was so good at it. He's the guy that gave me this hat. Are you a good freestyler? Can you just start riffing?
I can't.
I'm not either. I can't do that. I can't. I wish I could, because those folks I respect, man. That takes talent to be able to just wax poetics on a consistent basis. All right, here are the standings. This is what we're looking at here. So the Lakers lost tonight, but I feel like just getting a split in OKC was a win for them. So the Lakers are probably going to have the 3 seed locked up. The Houston Rockets have officially clinched the 2 seed. Trice, is Houston going to even have any motivation with the remaining games this year? Because they have a couple of big ones still remaining. But are they going to be playing hard? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if they're locked into their spot and then there's no chance of moving up. I don't know, man. I mean, they might try to rest some players for playoffs. It might, and some of that starts playing into if them winning or losing the game affects who they play in the first round. So, like, that might play into if they play their starters or not. You know what I mean? Like, if they don't want to see a certain team in the first round and they know them winning or losing could affect who they play, like, that might end up being – I know we've seen that in the past. So that might – it really just depends on who they think they match up well with in the playoffs and how them winning or losing affects their first round.
Yeah, the great Guru saying in the chat, Kerr's a genius coach. Agree to disagree. So the Rockets are number 2.
Right.
The Lakers are 3. They're at 48 and 31. And really the best way, I think, to look at the standings is the loss column here, because they're all going to have the same number of games when all said and done. Right now, the LA Lakers have 31 losses. They're 48 and 31. Then you have this cluster F-bomb of a logjam. And I cannot believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves lost tonight, yet that actually happened. Who did they even lose to? They had a bad team, didn't they?
Who was it? I remember. I saw it. I think they blew a lead, didn't they, or something?
They did. It was the Bucks. So they lost. Okay, so that's not the worst loss, but so they lost to Milwaukee, which helps the Warriors in the standings, but didn't help them, obviously. So right now we are looking at a 4-team tie for 4th place. Clippers, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies. And so then you have to apply the tiebreaker, Trice. And the tiebreaker, when it comes to these multi-team log jams is the head-to-head records with all the other teams. So in other words, we have 4 teams here. So the way they break this tiebreaker up is they look at how the Clippers have played this season against the Nuggets, Warriors, and Grizzlies. Then you look at how the Nuggets played against those 3 teams and so forth. So the Clippers right now, because of tiebreak, are in 4th.
Okay.
The Nuggets are in 5th. The Warriors are in 6th. And then the Memphis Grizzlies, who won earlier today, are currently in 7th. The Minnesota Timberwolves have dropped to 8th. They're a full game back of that massive logjam. Trice, what is your reaction to seeing that? Because that is wild. And Tara Doe in the chat, is that Tara? Saying, good to see you again, saying that the T-Wolves blew a 20-point lead in the 4th quarter of that Bucks game. So they did blow a huge lead, man. That's great.
Man, looking at that, it just goes to show how important that last game against LA is going to be. Like, that's going to be an absolutely crucial game.
Yeah.
Do you know if they beat LA, do they get, like, I know right now LA has the tiebreaker over them. Is there any way they get that tiebreaker back if they beat LA, or do we not know?
Which 2 teams? I'm sorry.
If the Warriors beat the Clippers.
No, the Clippers won the first 3. So in
Clippers
terms
have
of
the
head-to-head,
tiebreaker
that
no
last
matter
game's not going to matter.
Yeah, so the Clippers have the tiebreaker no matter what.
Correct.
Man, I don't
And the
know.
Clippers have the easiest remaining schedule. I know it's only 3 games. The Warriors have the 2nd easiest, and then I don't know what order the rest of them are, but
That's gonna be crazy, man. I don't know how. I have no idea how that's gonna shake out.
let's look at who the teams are still playing.
I would like to see Golden State end in that top 6, though. I know that.
It's to me the difference between, again, it's sort of be a broken record here, but the difference between 6 or higher playing is a 5th championship. I really believe it's that stark. It's that profound. That's just my take. But so these are the remaining opponents for all 3 teams. So the Clippers have 1 more home game left, and that's against Houston tomorrow. And again, that's part of the reason why I brought up Houston in terms of whether or not they have incentive to go all out in these games. And then the Clippers finish up at Sacramento Sunday at Golden State. What is your prediction for how they're going to finish out?
All right, say that again. So you got the Clippers, they got Houston, and they have who?
Houston at home, Sac and Golden State on the road.
Assuming they play all their normal people, I will say 2-1. 2-1. I'll say they beat the Rockets, and I'll say they lose to the Warriors out of those 3.
All right, so they'll beat Sac. I agree with you. That's exactly my prediction as well. So if that happens, I'll keep the math in mind. The LA will finish with 49 wins. Now, Denver, there are 3 games remaining. And again, they have a new head coach now. Is that Rick Adelman's son, side note, who took over? Do you know?
I don't know.
I just heard Adelman, and I immediately thought of Rick. So the Denver Nuggets have 3 games remaining at Sacramento, at home against Memphis. And that's a huge one because it means one of those 2 teams is going to get a loss no matter what. And then they finish the season Sunday at Houston. One more time, Denver Nuggets at Sacramento, home against Memphis, at Houston. Prediction.
Good chance for them to go 1-2 there. Honestly, I mean, maybe a win against Sacramento, and then depending on if Houston plays their lineups, I mean, could easily go 1-2.
Friday, April 11th is going to be a massive game. It's Denver at home hosting the Grizzlies. How do you see that playing out, man? I know it's a crazy question to ask.
Denver at home playing the Grizzlies. Denver loses their coach. I mean, both teams.
Jamal Murray's a huge X factor too, right?
Both teams have lost their coaches. Actually, now I think about it.
Yeah, you're right. That's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Man, I don't know who's winning that game. That's going to be tough. Do we know
Do
we know what their series on the year is?
Between them and Memphis?
Yeah.
Good question. I'm doing this manually. So the Nuggets and the Grizzlies played. They haven't played in a while. So still scrolling up here. Okay, so they played a back-to-back set in November 17th and 19th, and they split that series. And then they played. Is that it? Oh, that can't be right. Let me just double check here. That might be right though. I think they've only played 2 games against each other. Yeah, that's it. So they played 2 games against each other and they split it back in November.
I'll say Denver beats them.
Yeah, I think so too. So 2-1 or 1-2 for Denver.
That would be. I had them beating Memphis, and they had Sac, right?
Sac and Houston on the road.
So that'd be 2-1.
2-1. Okay, so and I agree with you there. So Denver will go with 49 wins. The Warriors, they play San Antonio tomorrow. Second of a back-to-back. I have my schedule on my phone here, which I'm gonna have to finally. I've been using this phone all year for my wallpaper in my schedule. It's almost retired. So the Warriors play the Spurs tomorrow at home. Portland in Portland Friday. The Clippers Sunday. What's your prediction for the Warriors?
Well, judging on since I said they would beat the Clippers in the Clippers predictions, I'm gonna say 3-0.
Me too. Is it crazy to you that the Warriors are still alive for 50 wins?
That's actually really crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. And Yadamin in the chat confirming that David Adelman is Rick Adelman's son.
Look at that.
Thank you for that. All right, so if our predictions are true, the Warriors will get to 50 wins. LA and Denver will get 49. And then Memphis, let's see what their schedule is here. We're almost done. 2 more teams. And Trice, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. Sticking around. Thank you, man. Great show. So the Memphis Grizzlies, there are 3 games remaining. At home against Minnesota. That's huge. At Denver, at home against Dallas. One more time.
Okay. Man, there's a real good chance every one of these teams goes 2-1.
Well, let me read those 3 games again real fast.
I think they might go 1-2 though. They might go 1-2.
Yeah, home against Minnesota, at Denver, and you and I both think Denver will win that game.
Yeah,
and then at home against Dallas, a team.
Yeah, I'd say 1-2. I'd say they beat Dallas and lose the other 2.
I'm gonna predict 0-3. I think they're actually gonna lose that Dallas game.
Oh, yeah?
0-3.
Okay.
We're just predicting. What the hell do I know? What
the
hell do I know? So, but with that said, so if Memphis, let's say goes 1-2, we'll do a safe guess here. That'll give them 48 wins on the year. So I think the way this plays out, if our predictions are right, we'll see Memphis drop, and then Minnesota, last but not least, in this logjam. And again, they must be kicking themselves for losing today. Their final 3 games are at Memphis. Oh, Jesus. And they're winning the last 2 easily. So it's at Memphis Thursday. They play Brooklyn Friday at home. Utah at home Sunday. 3-0 or 2-1? At Memphis, Brooklyn, Utah.
I feel like we've assumed Memphis would lose every one of these games. Man, I don't know. Memphis?
Well, this is Minnesota.
I know, but I'm saying if Memphis can beat Minnesota. You said that was the first game, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's in Memphis.
Get a cakewalk the final 2, Brooklyn and Utah at home.
It's in Memphis, right?
Yes.
It's a tough game.
That is a tough game. That's big. Memphis has some big ones coming up.
Yeah, Memphis has the hardest schedule out of everybody down the stretch.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's tough. I'll say 2-1.
So if our predictions are right, Minnesota and Memphis will finish with 48 wins. I don't know what how that tiebreaker will go. The Nuggets will finish, and the Clippers will both finish with 49 wins. I don't know who wins that tiebreak. I can find that out right now real fast. And that's important because if these predictions are right, the Warriors will finish as the 4 seed with 50 wins, and they'll take on either the Clippers or the Nuggets in the first round. I don't like that part of it. Real fast here, let me see who won. Dude, that's crazy. We're actually figuring out in real time what's going to happen for the Warriors in the postseason. Jesus, Clippers or Nuggets? I don't like the sound of either of that. So the Clippers, they played the Nuggets. Let me see what their head-to-head was, because this will determine their tiebreaker. So they lost to Denver on January 8th. They lost to Denver on December 13th, and they beat Denver on December 1st. But and they beat Denver on October 26th. They played each other 4 times and they split it. So I guess what's the next thing then? Is it conference record between those two? If it comes to that, Denver would win the tiebreaker. Either way, I don't want the Warriors to play either of those teams. I want the Warriors to play Memphis or Minnesota, not Denver or the Clippers. Your thoughts as we wrap it up?
I agree with you. I think I agree with you. Yeah, I like the matchups of those two teams better. I just feel like the Clippers are a scary team, man. I don't know. They're just there's something about them that's just very unpredictable.
You know what scares me especially about the Clippers, Trice, is that Kawhi Leonard is one of those very rare exceptions to the rule that Stephen Curry has your number. If I made sense. Meaning, like, Stephen Curry in his career has been able to beat pretty much everybody, like every obstacle he has found a way to overcome,
right,
except for Kawhi Leonard. And let's not count 2017 because they had Kevin Durant. So
and the year he broke his ankle.
And he stepped on Zaza Pachulia's foot, and that led to the whole like landing space rules.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard scares me.
Yeah.
Kawhi, I'm not gonna lie. That's Abraham De Leon is saying, looks like Clippers, Nuggets, or Lakers. Choose your poison.
I don't know. That's either one of those. Any of those three is going to be a tough first round. I think if you get out of that first round, you've got a great chance.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Give me Memphis or Minnesota. The West is. I saw something today that said that there hasn't been a logjam like this in the Western Conference this late in the season since 1971. That's how big of a cluster F-bomb this whole thing is. Trice, tell people everything that they need to hear about you in terms of your YouTube channel, social media, projects you're working on. Floor is yours, sir. Promote away as we wrap it up.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's always fun to talk hoops, man.
Always, brother. Love you, Trice. I do. Man.
I mean, I love y'all too, man. And I love you too. And I love talking about the Warriors. Obviously, I've been a big fan. I mean, personally, big Steph Curry fan, so inherently became a Warriors fan because of it. Been following the team for years now, so it's always fun to get on here and talk. One of the most passionate fan bases in the NBA, if not the most passionate. And just want to see the team succeed, man. The Bay deserves it. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it, but it would just mean so much to see them win a 5th ring this year. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping I can see it happen. I'm looking forward to watching another classic Warriors championship run. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be full of ups and downs. And I'm sure you're going to be covering it every step of the way, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, let's get you back, man. The postseason is going to be crazy. And if it's a deep run, we're going to have a lot of shows. I'm going to have a lot of guests. I'd love to have you be part of that, man. So.
For sure, absolutely. And I'd love to come back and join you for it. It's going to be a wild ride.
It is.
But no, as far as you can find me, you see the handle there. That's my Twitter handle, X handle, whatever you want to call it. It's at Trice High. The I's are ones, but if you search my name, just TRICE IHIGH, you'll find me. I'm a pretty unique name. And you can also find me same name on Instagram as well. And we're also on TikTok, but mainly on YouTube. You can find my channel. It's very easy to find. Just Trice Official on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Or if you just search Trice High, it'll pop up as well. But all kinds of, if you are a fan of sports documentaries, if you're a fan of basketball content in general, we have hours of original content for you to enjoy, whether it's about current players, older players, different events that have happened. There's my channel there as he's pulled it up. All kinds of things. We just released just a couple weeks ago a new channel about LaMelo Ball, or a new documentary about LaMelo Ball that just came out.
This one right here, Life of a Prodigy?
Yep, that just came out just not even 2 weeks ago. But the big one that Cyrus worked on is down there in the bottom right corner, Wardell Stephen Curry. It's a great documentary, 2 hours of the best Stephen Curry content you can find on YouTube. I promise you that. So please check it out if you haven't. Again, any other players that you want to check out, done again countless hours. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of videos of original, beautiful basketball content that will leave you feeling emotional, that will leave you connected to players. And I just love telling stories, man. That's what I like to do. I love taking players' stories and telling it and passing it along to a wider audience. So that's what we do on the channel. And then other than that, I always love talking hoops, man. I'm a hooper. I love playing basketball. I've been playing for a long time. And I love talking the game. So it's
fun, dude. It is. Dude, I didn't realize that you made documentaries on two players that fascinated me when I watched them. One is Jason Williams, a.k.a. White Chocolate, a dude whose handles were so ridiculously good. He was so entertaining as a basketball player. I know his defense, was a bit lacking at times, but it was so fun to watch. So you made a documentary on Jason Williams.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Covered Michael Jordan's Wizards years.
Yeah, that was my first documentary I ever made. It was right when COVID had just started. The Last Dance was coming on ESPN. And I decided I wanted to do kind of a encore to The Last Dance and kind of talk about his time with the Wizards, because I was born in '98. I mean, my the earliest memories I have of Jordan were him on the Wizards playing NBA Street Volume 2 on the PS2. So I wanted to have a commitment. I just felt like that time of his career didn't get enough love. It was fun to dive into a documentary about him during that time. So that was the first one. That was the rest was history after that. It kind of took off.
That's crazy, man. Because Jordan's Wizards run it's fascinating. It really is.
And then Jay Will, that's my guy. I've met him a few times. He's actually, because of the documentary, and then I work for a sports media company called Players TV that we work directly with athletes. And White Chocolate's my guy. I got a few signed pictures he sent me for the documentary and stuff. He's a cool dude.
Nice,
dude. A lot of people before we go, that I look like him, which I think is funny.
Well, I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah, I see it too, man. And that's a compliment, by the way. I think that's a good thing.
That's my guy.
Yeah. By the way, Trey Ochoa in the chat saying, "I'll beat Trice 1-on-1."
You could look me up, man. I mean, I played NCAA basketball, played some pro basketball. I mean, you're not beating me. I promise you.
Trey's just talking shit, dude.
I promise you. You could try though.
That's comedy, dude. Brother, you do great work. Congratulations. And I can't thank you enough for taking this much time, an hour 30 to come on my show tonight. Thank you, brother. I can't appreciate it enough.
Nobody I'd rather be talking hoops at 1 a.m. than
But don't you have a kid, like a newborn or like
I don't. No, thank God.
I'm sorry. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Don't scare me like that, Cyrus.
My apologies.
Don't scare me like that.
I thought you were like you're ditching your family to come on with me. I'm like, I'm honored.
No. I am married,
right.
But no, I don't have any young ones, so we're good.
Well, enjoy the freedom. That's the perk that comes with not having kids. All right. Thanks to everyone again. Trice, thank you, brother. You can follow Trice High on Twitter at Trice_High. Use the number 1 instead of the letter I. Obviously, and I also put the link to your YouTube channel in our description, so you can just go down there as well to find Trice's channel. Until the next time, which is going to be tomorrow morning with Damon Bruce at 11 a.m. and then again tomorrow night with the Warriors and the Spurs post-game. The last time those two teams played, the Warriors won by 42 points. So let's hope there's a replication there. Trice, thank you, brother. This was fun. Thanks to everyone. Bye-bye.